And what a huge game, a derby game where actually, if you think about the season as a whole, that Arsenal versus Chelsea game earlier in the season quite possibly saved Arteta's job. We now fast forward to the last few games of the season, and Arsenal are, they won the last game, but otherwise it's been a bit of a disaster of a season for them. I mean, going into this second game, you've got Chelsea who just need a couple of wins now, and they are firing, aren't they? It's amazing to see the turnaround from that game where Lampard sort of turned on his team a little bit, and it was the start of the end of the road for him. And now Tuchel, who is the Pistons are firing, aren't they, for Chelsea? They look fantastic. And going into this game, I mean, this could be a mauling, couldn't it?
They're metronomic right now, Chelsea. They rarely maul teams, but actually I think this could be one of the games that they score at least 3 goals in. They've only done that once under Thomas Tuchel since he arrived at the club in all of his games in charge. They rarely are high scorers. They don't concede many at all. Just a fantastic record. I think 18 clean sheets under Thomas Tuchel already. That is just sensational. So 18 clean sheets this season, many of them under Thomas Tuchel. Like I say, it's still fantastic from Chelsea, just the way they're playing right now. They've hit a groove. They can make changes as they did at the weekend against Manchester City, still put in a strong performance as well. 5 changes at the weekend. You just can't see how Arsenal are on their level right now. I'm sorry, they are a class apart. Mikel Arteta, huge question marks over his future for me. I just don't think they're good enough right now, even in the game against West Brom. I know they won 3-1, but there was a good period of time there where the game went to 2-1, and then West Brom really had a number of chances. They could have made it 2-2. In the end, a free kick sealed it from Willian. But to be perfectly honest, I didn't see an Arsenal team there that I thought had any chance of beating Chelsea. At the moment, they are as good as any team, not just in the Premier League, but in Europe. And I really believe that if Thomas Tuchel was there from the start of the season, Chelsea could have been on for a treble. They genuinely could have been. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? When you look at the sort of £220 million that was spent in the summer, this is what we were expecting, and I think if you go through it from start to finish, you've got Mendy who's coming. I think the Mendy signing is actually being slept on a little bit because, Kepa was a bit of a mess what had happened there, in the League Cup. Yeah. And also, the amount of money that was spent on him. So they're still looking to sort of navigate their way out of that. So for Mendy to come in what was a kind of sort of panicked situation, I guess, utilizing his contacts with Ren there. He's come in and he's been brilliant for them. Thiago Silva, again, a really smart acquisition there in that back 3 for them. Chilwell dropped out for a second. I think that's Tuchel kind of creating this competitive mindset, I guess, amongst the entire squad. And then those forward players were the ones that have taken the most heat this season. I'm still not there with Werner completely. I think the fixture, the results are kind of allowing these compliments to be sort of rained down on Werner. His movement is still lacking a little bit of intelligence at times, and his finishing hasn't been up to scratch overall. But part of me, I agree with you. With Lampard, I think it was a bit of a soulless call. It was a soulless decision to have your greatest ever player, who you gave that opportunity, to just take it away from him in that fashion. But was it the correct decision? I don't know how you can argue against it. I guess the only thing that, say, someone like Lampard would suggest was that this was coming. The chemistry was coming. Would you agree with that? Can you give Lampard any credit for this Chelsea team?
Defensively, they had improved. Once they bought Mendy, that was a Frank Lampard signing you mentioned. They actually had a great run. His first 4 or 5 games, I think he barely conceded a goal. I think he had 5 or 6 clean sheets when he arrived at the club. That's not just on Thomas Tuchel, but I don't think Frank Lampard would have got the tune that Thomas Tuchel is currently getting out of the Chelsea side right now. Ultimately, Thomas Tuchel showing us all that, especially Frank Lampard, that actually it didn't have to be as complicated as Frank Lampard was making it. All he's done really is made them a more solid team by simply putting players all across the field, making sure that all space is covered. It's a simple tactical game. And then, of course, retaining possession when you have the ball. Of course, there are some fantastic players in his squad, but Frank Lampard had all of those players at his disposal, and he couldn't get anywhere near the sort of performance that Thomas Tuchel is currently getting out of them. They are on Premier League winning form. And if Thomas Tuchel, as I say, had been there from the start of the season, they could well have been amongst the candidates to win the Premier League title, if not lift it. They're, of course, in the FA Cup final. They're in the Champions League final. He has been remarkable. So all the credit for me goes to the manager and Roman Abramovich, their owner, for making that decision, because as you say, it would have been a difficult one. He must have had a great relationship with Frank Lampard for all the years and all the trophies that he won there as a player. So to get rid of him in that fashion was a big decision. And ultimately, you look at Arsenal, they're twiddling their thumbs when it comes to getting rid of their manager, and they should really soon contemplate, if not now, getting rid of him, because you can't really see them making the improvements that really they need to be in that top 4 conversation for next year. Whether Arsenal fans think that's a realistic prospect or not, I'm not sure. But looking ahead to the game this weekend, I think, look, Arsenal have the 4th best defence in the league. Mikel Arteta should take credit for that, at least. But I think when it comes to Chelsea, even when they were a much better side, Arsenal have not fared well, particularly at Stamford Bridge. They haven't won there since October in 2011. Chelsea have kept 7 clean sheets out of their last 9 games at home under Thomas Tuchel as well. For me, you can't see any other result than a Chelsea win.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to give Arsenal fans any hope in this one. The only thing, it's weird, isn't it? I guess I've been a football fan so long that the fact that there is no logical reason why they should win this game is what's giving me that's the reason I might give them an opportunity to win the game, which is not ideal. Exactly, I agree here. I'm going to be sensible.
Can't beat Villarreal at home. You only need to score 1 goal. Crash out of the Europa League. You are not going to beat Champions League finalists, FA Cup finalists, Chelsea. No, not happening.
Yeah, I think for this, it's a really tough space in time for Arteta. You look at, with Tuchel, I think the thing that you're right, all those players were there for Lampard. And I think the 2 names that stand out for me in terms of personnel, Rudiger and Azpilicueta, 2 players who generally, when fit and in all the big games, have played those games and have given that foundation. For Arteta, if you look at how spread out that the amount of players in the amount of positions have been for them, that is a massive problem for Arsenal. And so for him, looking forward to next season, if he is going to be the manager, I think he needs to decide who are the players that he wants to move forward with, circle them, allow them to start to put a formation and create an identity for this Arsenal team, because at the moment they truly don't have one. I agree with you. Chelsea will surely win this one.
But what I would say with that is they need to be honest with the fans about what they're doing, because the fans aren't going to have as much patience as they probably need to have looking around at the other clubs making huge shinings, making progression, moving up the league.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.